I am about to give you a formula on how emotions are formed, okay? As I explained to you in my previous video, the formula is interpretation, identification, and repetition. Take all of that and put it together. Interpretation plus identification plus repetition is equal to a strong emotion, all right? Now, interpretation is the way that you interpret the emotion that you're feeling, all right? It begins with a feeling, it begins with an emotion, it begins with a thought. The thought comes into your mind, and then you identify with it. What happens when you identify with it is that you tell yourself, let's assume that you say, I'm unworthy right now, right? And you believe that you are unworthy. What happens there is that your thought process gives you repetitive thoughts of how unworthy you really are. Assume that you are going through a financial crisis right now and you're saying to yourself, I'm unworthy. Your mind tells you, I'm unworthy. And another thought comes into your mind that says, yes, you are unworthy, and that's why you are broke right now. That's why you don't have money right now. And that's why you don't have a partner or a spouse, or that's why you and your partner and your spouse are having disagreements all the time, all right? And in doing that, what happens is thoughts repetitively come into your mind. Immediately when one negative thought happens, it automatically births and rebirths quadruplet of negative thoughts, all right? And once the repetition has happened, it's multiplied and equal to a strong emotion. And what happens with that strong emotion then is that you have the same thought over and over and over again. And if you're 40 years old, then you have 40 years of trauma that's following you, that tells you why you're broke, why you're not married, why your relationships failed, why nothing's working out in your life, why you're broke. The thoughts automatically, they come to you over and over again, and they repeat themselves, all right? And what I'm here to tell you and what I'm here to ask you to do is, if you were to write down at a point, write down a few things that I would like for you to identify with, okay? And you start with writing down questions to answer for yourselves, all right? And starting with the question, do you think that everything happens for a reason? Do you embrace it? Or do you play the victim in something that has happened that's gone wrong? Like, assume you say, I'm unworthy, and you were broke right now. Do you embrace the fact that you are broke? Or do you play the victim and you look around you at all of the factors relating to why you're broke? I don't have a job. I'm unemployed. My parents are dead. My siblings don't want to help me. This is now you playing the victim, all right? Or do you embrace it, and then do you believe that these thoughts and these emotions are temporary setbacks, of which, if you accept them and embrace them as a temporary setback, do you think that somewhere along the line, this incident or this challenge that you are facing right now could lead you to be more successful? Do you try to change by telling yourself, I'm going to change, or I'm going to do a certain thing, and you find yourself falling back on being consistent with whatever it is that you need? Like, if you say to yourself, I've said to myself recently, I am not going to be eating any sugar, all right? And I could live with the idea that says, I'm not going to eat any sugar. But then I wake up in the morning and then I see my kids having chocolate, or hot chocolate for that matter, Milo. Do I sit back and I say, let me just have a cup of Milo, or let me just have a sweet because it's there, it's to be eaten? Or do I challenge myself and say, you know what? This is happening because I have put myself in the position of telling myself that I want to change this aspect about my life. Do you go on and change it? Or do you just sit back and say, you know what? I'm going to have it. It's okay. I'll start not eating sugar tomorrow. It's going to be okay tomorrow. These are things that happen to us, and we fall into the trap of our emotions. All right. I'm just here to motivate you and to encourage you to find the thoughts and to find the emotions and write them down and embrace what you are feeling, so that you create a new formula, a new reprogramming, so that when the emotion arises, you do not identify negatively with the emotion. You teach yourself how to identify appropriately with an emotion.